Not going to let me go live. Oh, we are. Okay, good. It's 11:04 p.m. here on Saturday, November 1st, 2025. This is Dylan Lang. It's Dylan Knows episode 631, Halloween debriefing. I did write 631, right? Yes, I did. 631, Halloween debriefing. It's also getting close to the end of the World Series, Game 7. All right, and let's see what the score is so far. Dodgers are coming back 4-3, bottom of the 8th inning. So Blue Jays need an insurance run here, and then they need to hold the Dodgers. They do that, they win the World Series. They're playing in Toronto, which was interesting because they said this year they started the baseball season off in a foreign country, in Japan. The first series was played in Japan. And the final game of the Major League Baseball season is also going to be played in a foreign country in Canada. So kind of interesting. I have no skin in the race, so I don't care who wins. Blue Jays are in our division, so we play them all the time. So we'll see. It'd be nice if the Canadian team won, so we'll see. Yep, so that was okay. It is November 1st. I said yesterday was Halloween. We've officially ended. October has finished. That's this one right here. Halloween right here. Thanksgiving is next. And then there's Christmas. Remember that. Everyone's talking about it. It's time to do Christmas stuff now. My boss at work has already put up his Christmas tree. And look, it's fine if you want to do all that. That's fine. But for me, Christmas doesn't start till the day after Thanksgiving, which is usually Black Friday. My mom today, I talked to her. She officially wants to do Thanksgiving with my in-laws like we've done the last few years. Normally, we have to ask her if she wants to do it. She's all happy and hawed about doing it. But now she came around and said, I want to do this. It's like, okay, we're going to do it. So that's awesome about that. So we'll keep track of World Series Game 7. There was a fight that broke out in the middle of the game. Shohei Ohtani was the Dodgers pitcher. He didn't have a very good start. So they took him out after 2 1/3 innings. Gave up 3 runs, 5 hits. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, something like that. So it wasn't one of his better performances, but that's okay. Can't always win, so we'll keep an eye on that. So they said we'll see what happens. We'll check back periodically to see what's going on. Not that anybody really cares, but that is going to be the end of one sport. And we still have 3 more going on. We have football, hockey, and basketball. I could care less about basketball and hockey since Baltimore doesn't have a team. But we do have a football team that's been struggling lately. When I did my show last week, the Ravens were 1-5. They were coming off of a bye. Lamar Jackson was not going to play in Sunday's game against the Bears in Baltimore. So Tyler Huntley got the start. And Tyler Huntley had one of the best games of his career last Sunday, beating the Bears like 30-18, I think was the final, something like that. So that made us 2-5, and then we had a quick turnaround. That's the reason why Lamar wasn't playing, is because we had the quick turnaround because we played on the 30th, this past Thursday, with Lamar starting, and the Ravens are now 3-5. They've got 2 straight wins now where they beat the Dolphins in Miami. 28-6 was the score of that one. Lamar threw 4 touchdowns. He always does very well against Miami. So now they have a 10-day break. Then they go to Minnesota next Sunday to play the Minnesota Vikings. And then the weekend after that, we play the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Another mediocre team. The Minnesota Vikings are mediocre kind of also. It's hard to tell what's going on with them. And then the Browns are mediocre. And then we come home to play the Jets, who are one of the worst teams in football right now. And we follow that up with a game at home on Thanksgiving against the Bengals, who are also struggling right now. And then we end up going to play the Steelers. So we've got some pretty decent chances to really move up in the ratings. Right now we are 3-5. The Steelers are 4-3. They've got a game tomorrow against the extraordinarily burning hot Indianapolis Colts. Everybody's pretty much predicting the Colts are going to take down the Steelers, so we'll see what happens. Let's hope that's what happens. Browns are on a bye, so they're not going to gain any traction on us. And the Bengals are playing somebody. I'm not sure, so we'll see. So that's what's going on with that. So Ravens are now have gone from 1-5 when I did my show last Saturday to now 3-5, which is fantastic, and they look good. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Today also, before you go to bed tonight, don't forget to turn your clocks back an hour. I still don't quite understand why people hate on that. I am fine with losing an hour here in the fall, or gaining an hour in the fall and losing an hour in the spring. From what I've been hearing from different meteorologists and scientists, stuff like that, that if we did not do that, we would be getting weird things like sunrises at like 4 a.m. and sunsets at 3 p.m. sort of stuff. So I think this is fine. I think this works out fine. I think the system works fine. And I don't understand why everyone's bitching about it. I mean, everything is done automatically for you now for the most part, computers, phones, all that. That'll be changed automatically. We still have to change some of the clocks in our house, but it's easy when it's an hour back. You just click beep, 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 and like that. Change the car. In most places, changing the car time is easy also. So I don't understand why the hatred for it. Is it because, when it hits in spring, you're like, oh, we lost an hour of sleep, yes, but you're gaining it back now. So like you go to bed, at midnight tonight, you're technically going to bed at 11 o'clock because technically it doesn't hit till 2 a.m. But still, if you're going to bed, you're going to turn your clocks back already. So you're already going to be prepped for that. It's driving me a little crazy. I don't quite understand why people hate on that. So it is what it is. But don't forget to do that. They keep trying to get rid of it, and it never works. So suck it up and deal with it. We got a whole lot of other issues that we need to deal with instead. This week was also interesting before I get to the Halloween debrief. This week was interesting also because of a few other things. One, it was being teased for a couple weeks before it happened, but on Thursday, both the Scream 7 trailer, the people have been dying to see what's going on with that, and the new Stranger Things Season 5 full trailer made their debuts basically simultaneously. They both dropped about 10 a.m. on Thursday. I know that because it was right around my break time. And whenever I go on my break from work, I check my phone, and the first thing that pops up is Scream 7 trailer and Stranger Things Season 5 trailer. Both look decent. Both looks like it's going to be some good movies. I like how both of them look. They're mixing and matching stuff. We still don't quite know what's going on with Scream and the return of all the dead people, and we don't know what's going on really with Stranger Things. We get some ideas there. So it's some decent stuff. You're going to see a lot of crazy things, and it looks good, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It got you wanting to go see these movies and TV shows. Which reminds you, Stranger Things Season 5 debuts the day before Thanksgiving, so that's about 25 days from now. So not that long till we start seeing the first episode of Stranger Things. Scream 7 does not debut until February. But that's okay. Also, we'll probably see another trailer before that's over with. Also, Fortnite today was their Simpsons mini event, which segued from the Fortnitemares Chapter 6 map that we were on to the month-long Simpsons map that we're doing, where everything is done in the Simpsons style. So it's all cartoon graded, and it looks like you're playing in a Simpsons episode. The live show, the live event that happened at 11 a.m. this morning, my son and I both watched, was kind of entertaining, and they had a fun little Simpsons mini cartoon at the end, which was kind of funny to watch. And then the downtime happened, and it was going to get back up at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So my son and I got on about 4:45, and summarily got rejected multiple times. Thinking, okay, it says cannot connect to your online whatever. So I was like, okay, that's great. But it's, we figured it's a first season, it was the new season. So a lot of people were going to try to get in at the same time. Go on to Facebook, look on my Fortnite things I have on Facebook, and everybody's saying the same thing. Why am I getting kicked off? Why can't I get on? Why is it saying I can't get on? Fortnite system update came up and said, yeah, we're working on the issue. There is an issue getting you guys. And people were saying they were in the game. They're getting kicked out also. So, people saying that Fortnite is dying, and the fact that they had all of these, people trying to get in and having all these issues. So we'll see. I will try again tomorrow morning. Looks a lot of fun. So we will see what's going on with that. All right, let's check the World Series score here real quick. Okay, here we are. Top of the 9th inning. So this is it. The Blue Jays did not get a insurance run, so it's 4-3, and we'll see what happens here. Someone posted that, I don't know if it was faked or Photoshop, whatever, but Google sent them a breaking news that Toronto wins the World Series. And that was hours ago. So I don't know if that actually is fake or real or whatever. I'm not exactly sure. So that's very interesting. Another big thing, since we're on the theme of sort of Halloween-esque sort of stuff. American Horror Story, which they haven't done a new season in a while, has announced that they are starting production on a season 13 of American Horror Story on FX. And they've got a very good cast. They're bringing back basically almost everybody who's been in the show before one time or another. And they added a few people as well. The cast now sees returning my Aunt Jessica. Jessica Lange is returning. She hasn't been on it for a little bit. Evan Peters, who's always in it. He's in it again also. Angela Bassett, who's done it a few times also. She's returning. Kathy Bates, who also has done it a bunch of times, is returning as well. Sarah Paulson, who's done it as many times almost as Jessica Lange has, is also returning. Emma Roberts, who's done it a few times, is out there. Billy Lord, who's one of the new ones, I think, who hasn't done it before. Maybe did an episode or two. I don't know. Ariana Grande has joined the cast. Gabri Sidibe, who I think has been on it before, is also in it. Leslie, can't read my handwriting. Grayson, something like that, also has signed on as well. So they've got a lot of the old cast members coming back, so don't know exactly what's going on for that. Area 51 was locked down after a mysterious object fell from the sky nearby them. So don't know what's going on with that. So we'll see what's happening. That reminds me, the alien watchers in that object streaking towards us right now is set to come by Earth, I think, near the end of this month. So we'll see if aliens are coming then to save us. It's a comet, people, from interstellar space. We got our first David teaser trailer, which I think is an animated film about David, like the David and Goliath sort of thing. Just I mention it because it just popped up today. Margaret Qualley, Michael Shannon, Drew Starkey to star in King Snake. We get our first Roque trailer. Roque is a brand new film distributor. It's picked up the Cliffhanger reboot and a few others. I announced all that last week. We get our first trailer for Dead Man's Wire, which is Gus Van Sant's movie for them. So their first trailer ever debuted this week. Elijah Wood crashed a wedding taking place at the Shire. So it's kind of interesting to see that. Before we get to the funny story, let's get into Halloween debrief. We're about 14 minutes in, so it makes a lot of sense. So Halloween was yesterday, Friday, October 31st. First up, as I announced last week, I was going to be portraying Heath Ledger's Joker. I did okay, I guess. The makeup was pretty interesting. See if I can get a picture of it. This is what I looked like as Heath Ledger Joker. This was taken Halloween morning. I guess I did okay. I did okay. I didn't win, though. I came in fourth in the costume contest at work. Third place was one of our salesmen, was dressed as Ozzy Osbourne. He had one of these. He doesn't have tattoos, but he had found these arm sheaths that he put on his arms that had tattoos to make it look like he had arm tattoos, which is really cool. Second place, we had 3 young ladies who were dressed as Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach in their Mario Kart cars. So that was kind of fun. And then the winner, as should have been, is we had 3 young ladies who were dressed as the Sanderson sisters, I guess it's the name, from Hocus Pocus, and their costumes were spot on. Their makeup, their hair, everything, they looked like the characters from the movie. They did a phenomenal job. They deserve to win. They won last year with the Beetlejuice cosplay as well. So they're turning into major cosplayers, and they've won $500 over the last 2 years. So pretty good. We also had a doggy. Corgi came in to visit also. One of the salesmen people had their dog come and visit. They had put a little wooden cowboy on top of him, so that was his costume. It looked like the cowboy was riding the corgi. The corgi's name was Dilly also. Like, so whenever people said Dill or Dilly, I was like, they thought they were talking to me when I was in the vicinity, because that's what people call me usually. So, oh well. We had pizza, which was fine, and it was just boring because nobody wanted to do any work, and it was just, I didn't want to do any work, nobody would do work, and we just sort of were there. And the wind was picking up all day. We had gusts between 30 and 50 mile per hour for pretty much the whole day, so it was a nice day except for the breeze, the wind. If we wouldn't have had the wind, it would have been a very pleasant Halloween. But the wind came up, and I was worried that my inflatables were going to fall down, but they held their own during the night. So I sat out in a camp chair playing my spooky music playlist I have through one of my speakers and hand out candy. We had a good amount of people. It was a Friday night. My wife had bought 3 giant bags of candy from Costco, and we had a 4th one, which is a smaller bag. All we have left is a half a bag of the big one, so we got rid of 3 bags, 3.5 bags of candy. So we had a lot of people, a lot more than we had the last couple of years, so that was nice to see that. Reading people's reactions to their Halloweens around the area and other parts of the world, it was kind of a split 50-50. Half people said, yeah, we got nobody's coming around. The other half said, yeah, we were swamped, so nobody really knows. Talked to my mom today. She said she didn't quite have as many. She usually gets 4 bags, and usually has a full bag, or half a bag left or something like that. Yeah, it was a half a bag left after that. She only bought 3 this year due to money, so like that. She still only had a half a bag left. So they didn't have as many people, but that could be for a wide variety of things. It was windy up here in our area, a little bit more chilly than normal. I couldn't tell you what any of the hot costumes were, because a lot of the time people were wearing jackets and stuff like that. Plus it was dark. I couldn't tell, and they all looked all sort of the same. There was nothing that really stood out to me this year. It was neat to see. We'll get that in a second. So nothing really stood out to me like that. So there's no K-pop demon hunters that I could see, or sinners, or stuff like that. Just typical stuff you see normally, and then some I just couldn't tell what they were, because they were just either in coats or whatever, and just a lot of people just didn't seem to be dressed up. Now that could be a whole lot of things, because 2025 has been life sucking out of you, and I can understand why maybe things aren't as good. Plus it was a Friday night. You had the weekend coming up, but still people were coming off of school and work and stuff like that, so they didn't get out right away. Maybe a lot of people had parties because it was the weekend, or had other things to go to. So, but we had a good amount of people, so we'll see. Next year should be telling. Hopefully next year we'll be in a better spot where we are now. Hopefully it won't be in a worse spot than we are now. And that in turn might help out a bit, since it will be on a Saturday and people still have a day off to go, have trick or treat on. So we'll see what happens with that. So all in all, it was pretty decent. Some other interesting things about the night. My hairstylist, and my son and i's hairstylist, who has a shop on Main Street, she and her family came. This is the second year I've seen them come to our neighborhood. We talked about it actually last year, before we got our haircuts before Halloween, and she was like talking about they live a little bit, not far away, but they live down in like off of 30, which is right down the road about 10 minutes, and it's a little bit in the boonies a little bit. They said not a lot of people came here, so they drove up to our neighborhood. We told them, hey, drive up to our neighborhood and check it out. They came last year, and it was cool to see them. And they said, hey, it's me. And I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And then this year, the Scooby Gang came up, and it was them again. So that was cool. They mentioned, yeah, it's us. It was like, oh, yeah, it's awesome. So they look great. My Russian neighbor, who I might have talked about on this show because he moved away on about maybe 10 years ago. I think he moved away before COVID. Maybe not. Maybe five or 10 years ago. Maybe he moved away around COVID time. 5 or 6 years ago, maybe, but he's been gone for a little while. He actually came back. He was in our neighborhood, and he shook my hand, gave me a hug, and we talked for a little bit. It was kind of nice to see him. That was kind of cool. And then one of my wife's scouts came by and said, hi, Mr. Lang. I didn't recognize her. I was like, she didn't give me her name. And she's like, yeah. And her friend's like, you know him? And she's like, yeah. His wife is my scoutmaster, and I know no other kids. So I tried to describe her to my wife a little later. She had no idea who I was talking about, but she knew who I was, and I didn't know who they were. So we'll find out eventually. So it was kind of nice to see that. And it was just all in all, it was kind of nice. Had a few people take pictures of our decorations and want to take selfies in front of them. I was like, yeah, it's absolutely fine. We have no problems with that. I give candy to everybody, even as teenagers who aren't dressed up. I just give them candy. They deserve it. There you go. You don't really have a costume. You don't say trick or treat. You don't say thank you, whatever. It's fine. I'll give you shit. I don't care. It's Halloween. It's what's fun. It was a little chilly, and I'm feeling a little better finally, but I had a sinus headache pretty much all day today. And I was feeling a little worn down because I told myself, because it was a little chilly out, I had a sweatshirt on, stuff like that, while I was out handing out candy, but I was like, watch me get sick. And so we'll see what happens, but I'm feeling okay right now. Excuse me. So that's your Halloween debrief. Not too bad, kind of interesting, but again, much like everything else, the situation that is 2025 has sucked the life out of us and me. So here's hoping that we get a reset next year and things are in a better spot next year. Let's cross our fingers anyway. Now for a silly story. A man uses an avocado to rob 2 banks of $32,000, claiming it was a hand grenade. Which I guess if you had a ripe enough one and you just showed the similar shape of a hand grenade, now that people have seen them up close, they would believe it. And plus, you're not seeing them up close. He's threatening you with that. And you're like, I don't want to die, so I'll give you the money. I don't give a fuck. So that was kind of an interesting story. Deaths this week, character actor Checky Cario, who was in GoldenEye, La Femme Nikita, Bad Boys, The Missing, and a bunch of other films. I think 100 plus other films. May as well do our check. I love checking character actors' stats to see what they were in. And the Dodgers tied it. It's 4-4 going to the bottom of the 9th inning. So Toronto has a chance to walk it off, or they go to extra innings. That's funny as hell. They had an 18-inning game earlier this week. So that's funny as hell that they might be going into extra innings again. That's funny as shit. So, go World Series. All right. Checky Cario. TCH. TC. There he is. He's a French actor. Checky Cario is what they're actually saying his name is pronounced as. It's selected filmography, so it must have been in a bunch of other stuff. The Return of Martin Gere. Did a lot of French movies. The Bear, Australia, La Femme Nikita, Vincent and Me. He played Vincent Van Gogh in that. Okay, it's interesting. Husbands and Lovers, Red Shoe Diaries, 1492, Conquest of Paradise, and the band played on. He was in that. He played Nostradamus, Bad Boys, GoldenEye, Operation Dumbo Drop, From the Earth to the Moon, he played Georges Millier. He was in Babel, the messenger story of Joan of Arc. He was in Wing Commander. The Patriot, he was in that. The Core, he was in that. A Very Long Engagement, he was in that. Taking Lives, he was in that also. Just a lot of French stuff. Belle and Sebastian, Missing. So he did some stuff. So he was more, but you've seen him in a few things though. So he passed away this week. All right. Next up, we have Ralph Senesky, who was a Star Trek Next Generation director. He died at the age of 102 this week. And Yervis Medina, a Major League Baseball pitcher, died at the age of 37 today. Boom. All right. There's not a lot today, so I'm not expecting this episode to go. It should be probably might not even touch an hour, so we'll see how that goes. Thanksgiving chicken nuggets. It's not turkey meat, but it's chicken nuggets in the shape of turkeys. You can get them now to start celebrating Thanksgiving. It's good to see some people are embracing Thanksgiving. I'm so excited for this. I actually had one today. Arby's, one of my favorite fast food restaurants, and gets too much hate in my opinion. They have brought back their deep fried turkey sandwiches. They've got two. It's one called like the Gobbler, and one is the deep fried turkey club, which I've had, which is phenomenal. Your typical club sandwich has the deep fried turkey, the bacon, American cheese, lettuce, tomato, and mayo. So good. I subsisted on them last year when they released it for the first time last year. I ate it. It seemed like almost every weekend I went up there to eat it because it was so good. So I was over there that today and got to have one. It was just as good as it was last year. So if you have not had a chance to, it'll stick around for a few months. Actually, it stuck around to like January, February-ish before it disappeared. So it'll stick through the holiday season probably. And they still have my chicken cordon bleu sandwich, so that's good. I love that also. So I've got some options now, and then my French dip of my three main go-tos up there. So that's good. So it's good to see that. Olivia Wilde Olivia Wilde will be joining Pedro Pascal in Behemoth, Tony Gilroy's new movie he wrote and directed. Taylor Sheridan is set to write, and Peter Berg is set to direct a Call of Duty movie. So that's a pretty interesting creative team on that. That Daisy Edgar Jones and Amelia Jones, I don't think any relation, are going to be in the movie Bad Bridgets. James Madison University to have alternate football helmets for their football team. One side will have the JMU logo. The other will have a Marvel character on it. So that's kind of interesting that they're doing something like that. Robert Englund, he of Freddy Krueger fame, got his Hollywood Star of Fame. Got his Hollywood Star on the Walk of Fame on Halloween. So good on that. Shiver is a new film from director Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool. He's going to be directing this soon. Keanu Reeves has been cast in the role, and it has been described as a smuggling, sharks, and time loop movie. So it seems like a bonker sort of thing. Benicio del Toro and Cameron Diaz are set to star in Reenactment. Black Phone 2 is set to hit digital on November 4th. For Halloween, Heidi Klum is the queen of Halloween. She always goes overboard with her costumes. This year's no different. She was dressed as Medusa, the Greek character, and her husband was a statue. And just the makeup and just the costume itself, Heidi Klum, it's nice to have, friends in high places, was absolutely movie quality. Medusa with moving snakes on her head as well. It was outstanding. So can't hate her for that. Academy Award winner Stephen Goggin set to direct Valley of Ashes, a loose modern retelling of The Great Gatsby for Netflix, which he also co-wrote with Jennifer Lee or Jennifer Wood or something like that. Ray Romano is set to join the cast of Running Point, the Kate Bosworth starring show about someone who owns a football team, I think, something like that. Zeb Wells is said to be writing a script to bring Buck Rogers to the big screen, so we'll see how that is. Mr. Pibb will be back with a new design and a new formula with more caffeine. Should hit where I am in the new year, but it might be out in other places earlier than that. November 13th, the Starbucks Red Cups come out. That's their holiday cup for the year. So a lot of stuff's happening on November 13th. Actually, you'll see that. The guy who wrote the movie Arrival has written a psychological thriller novel, which will simultaneously be released in bookstores and is also will be getting a film adaptation right away. So that's good on that. After much rumors and innuendo and hemming and hawing, Doctor Who is returning, but not to Disney Plus. They will be having a Christmas show, special coming at the end of 2025, and a new season, I think, right after it. So we'll get an idea, which is the way this has all been running out. We don't know exactly what's going on, who's going to be what. And after the cliffhanger ending of the final Doctor Who series on Disney Plus, we don't know exactly what's going on. And that's good because normally by now you know everything that's going on. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But it has officially, we'll be getting a Christmas special this year and a new series, I think, but only on the BBC. Disney Plus no longer will be doing Doctor Who because they kind of screwed it up anyway. Isabella Merced, Noah Jupe, Matilda Lutz, and a few others as well are going to be starring in the psychosexual horror film Psyche. The Baltimore Orioles have hired Craig Albernaz as their new head coach. He was working for the Cleveland Guardians now, and everyone across the Major League Baseball thinks it's a good pickup, so good on that. Sam Mendes's Beatle quartet movies he's going to be making has cast all of the Beatles as partners. I think last week because she's the most famous one, I think the news dropped last week for this one, but Saoirse Ronan will be playing Linda McCartney. They also cast Anna Sawai as Yoko Ono, Amy Lou Wood as Patty Boyd, who I think was George Harrison's wife, and Mia McKinnon Brown, I think, or Brian, will be playing Maureen Stanley, who I guess was Ringo's partner. So the partners have been cast. The Beatles have been cast. Time to make the movies. Okay, Blue Jays are still up. So we'll see what happens. I love Thanksgiving, and you all know that. I've talked about that multiple times. And I'm glad to see that there are some companies and some people are really getting into it. This is a little crazy. If you go to Oreo Online, that's the Oreo Cookie Online, they're offering an online-only sales of a turkey dinner cookie collection. You will get turkey stuffing flavored cream in between Oreo cookies. You will get cream corn flavored cream in between Oreo cookies. You will get sweet potato cream between two Oreo cookies. You'll be getting cranberry sauce flavored cream between two Oreo cookies. You'll be getting pumpkin pie flavor cream between two Oreo cookies, and you'll be getting caramel apple pie between two Oreo cookies. The pumpkin pie and caramel apple ones sound good. The rest are like okay. It's kind of strange, but yeah. But I'm glad to see that companies are getting into the Thanksgiving spirit, because Thanksgiving's right there. It's right in the middle of Christmas and Halloween. 2025 has been a shitty year, and you already know that. It's been dragging. It's just, we are in the worst timeline. Everything's going to shit. And much like in 2020, weird things keep happening, which makes it seem like we are in like the twilight zone right now. Case in point, this week, not one, but two loose monkey stories made their arrival. Earlier in the week, the more dangerous one, a truck carrying a bunch of monkeys that were infected with COVID, Hep C, and herpes. Which, first of all, why would you do that anyway? I know it's like a college scientific experiment, but still, testing on monkeys, that's awful. I still don't like that. The truck carrying them crashed in Mississippi, and the monkeys carrying COVID, Hep C, and herpes escaped. Still no word if they've all been recovered yet. It's Mississippi's problem, though. You can cry to your convict in charge president for help. He ain't going to help. He didn't give a shit about you. And a loose monkey, who was a pet monkey because he had a diaper on, it's one of the capuchins, was discovered swinging from the rafters of a Spirit Halloween in San Antonio, Texas. So two unrelated monkey on the loose events. One a lot worse than the other one, but still, the fact that they both released this week on Halloween week is interesting. Anniversaries. Practical Magic debuted 26 years ago this week. Halloween 2, the actual sequel to Halloween, debuted 32 years ago this week. 42 years ago this week, dumbass. Yeah, that's what I thought. 42 years ago this week. Dumbass. Don't know why I said 32. It's 42 years ago this week. The Garfield Halloween Adventure Special debuted 40 years ago this week. The War of the Worlds radio broadcast by Orson Welles occurred 87 years ago this week. Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal debuted 11 years ago this week. About Time debuted 12 years ago this week. The Walking Dead's first episode debuted on October 31st, 2010. I remember because it was on. I was running back and forth between watching the TV show, the TV pilot, and giving out candy to people at the doors, running back across the house because it was on Halloween. Debuted 15 years ago this week. And finally, The Hidden debuted 38 years ago this week as a great underseen sci-fi film with one of Kyle MacLachlan's earliest films, where he's dressed like Dale Cooper, and he basically plays a agent who helps a police officer investigates a weird sort of alien crime sort of thing. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but it's kind of interesting what Kyle MacLachlan ends up being, but that's besides the point. I pretty much already ruined it. So that's your listening to me anyway. So that's everything that's happened there. Moving right along, I only have a page and a half, well, almost 2 pages left, because not a lot really, I guess, happened this week. Now, I know people are going to say this is too perfect and too good looking, but with the way cameras are nowadays, this does not surprise me. India's lunar orbiter that's been orbiting our moon now for about a year or so has finally been sent over the area where Apollo 11 landed. They got there and they took one of the clearest pictures you're ever going to see of the Apollo 11 lander on the surface of the moon. But it's so clear that I can almost guarantee you the moon landing hoaxers are saying it was faked. But if you think about it, India doesn't really have a space program, so they're putting all this money they have into an orbiter to see if it's successful. They're going to give it the highest graded stuff. You know, we have telescopes which are taking pictures of stuff that you've never seen before in clear detail. So this isn't that far off. So no, I don't believe the moon landing was not faked, was not hoaxed, and this picture is absolutely stunning and should put to rest the talk that we did not go to the moon. Hello Kitty is set to get an animated movie to hit America on July 21st, 2028. So we still got a few years to go on that, but still, that's pretty interesting. King of the Hills revival was picked up for 2 seasons by Hulu. About 10 episodes each, about 20 more episodes are going to be produced. My New Friend Jim is a new film or a TV show starring Robert Below and Keith David. That's an interesting team up. Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas are starring in Power Ballads, set to debut June 5th, 2026. Scrubs reboot is set to hit on February 25th, 2026. The Eagles-Chargers football game on December 8th will be getting a Monsters, Inc. themed animated companion. Now, they did this a few years ago when the Jaguars, and I forget who they were playing in London. And on Disney Plus, they did a live broadcast of the football game, but had it done with Pixar, by Pixar, using Toy Story characters. So what was happening in the game was happening in the animated feature as well simultaneously. I still don't know how they did it, how they timed it, but that's how I ended up watching that football game. That was a few years ago. So I thought that was kind of neat that they should do it maybe once a year. And they are. They're doing. It's not. They didn't do it once a year. This is like 3 or 4 years ago when they debuted this. They did it again. They're doing it again this year on December 8th. The Eagles and Chargers are set to do this, but this time instead of it being a Toy Story animated thing, it'll be a Monsters Inc. animated thing. So probably still going to be on Disney Plus. I'll have to check into my Disney Plus because it says that I have to sign back in. I don't remember signing out, so I don't know if it's because I haven't watched it in so long that it automatically signed me out. I don't know, so I'll have to check that out. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow because I have no football to watch tomorrow since the Ravens played on Thursday. So that's kind of neat. So we have Disney Plus, Freakier Friday, the sequel to Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis is set to hit Disney Plus on November 12th. So that's good on that. Beyond the Spider-Verse has been moved up another week to June 18th, 2027. So 2 days before my 54th birthday. No. Yes, 54th birthday, yes. Animated Crash Bandicoot series is in the works at Netflix. 93-year-old John Williams is coming out of retirement to score his buddy Steven Spielberg's UFO movie set to debut next year. Finding Frankie movie based on the video game, which is being called a combination of Squid Game meets Five Nights at Freddy, is due to come out soon. One Piece live action season 2 is got an announcement. It's set to debut on March 10th, 2026. We should probably be seeing a trailer here sooner than later. A truckload of pianos spontaneously combusted while traveling through the Oklahoma plains. That's a weird thing. Spontaneous combustion is always kind of weird. I don't understand how or why that could happen, but it does. Josh Hartnett continues his renaissance. He is signed on to star in the Violent Night director's new action thriller, All Day and All Night. Monster Mash, you know the song by Billy Pickett or something like that, will be getting an animated feature from Miramax. So that's intriguing. Probably come out around Halloween, hopefully. Only Murders in the Building is renewed for a 6th season and is set to film in London. Feel bad for Steve Martin because Steve Martin was like, yeah, I'm going to retire after I finish my run on Only Murders in the Building. And he's gone 6 seasons so far. That's 6 years since he said he was going to retire. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, so they're going to be doing that set in London. It's still hugely popular and he still likes doing it. So, hey, knock yourself out, man. This is interesting. So Doug Liman, who directed the remake of Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, but was not invited back for the sequel for some reason, has bought the rights to the sequel to Roadhouse, the Patrick Swayze version. See, when the Patrick Swayze version came out, it was successful, and a writer had written a treatment for a second movie, but Swayze passed away before they could make it, and it was put away in a drawer because you can't do it without Patrick Swayze. So now flash forward to the huge popularity that was the Jake Gyllenhaal version of Roadhouse, and it's getting its own sequel with a different director. That'll be out probably sometime next year on Amazon Prime. And as I said, Doug Liman, who directed the first one, was not invited back, so he discovered this sequel script to the original Roadhouse, and has bought the rights to that and plans on making that his next movie with a different cast and different storyline, all that stuff. So get ready for 2 Roadhouse movies coming out maybe next year. So we'll see. This is kind of interesting. So Saudi Arabia started building a Sky Stadium, a 1,150 foot. No, the stadium is going to be built 1,150 feet off of the ground, so way up in the air, and is going to be able to seat 46,000 people, and will be opened in time for the 2034 World Cup. That's just wild to have a stadium that high up, and you're going to be playing soccer that high up and have 46,000 people sitting that high up in a football pitch. That's really interesting. So keep an eye on that as well. Middle East is going crazy. MAGA Minute. The president, I forgot completely about this convicted president, said this week that he plans on bringing back steam power. Not The Onion. This is our real life. It's not really MAGA minutes, more like MAGA 30 seconds. That's what I think of MAGA right now. Anniversaries. Saw 2 debuted 20 years ago this week. Saw 1 debuted 21 years ago this week. The House on Haunted Hill debuted 26 years ago this week, came out same time as The Haunting. It was a bit darker version, and this was the first Dark Castle movie, and then 13 Ghosts made it, and then there was the boat one and stuff like that. Nightmare Before Christmas debuted 32 years ago this week. Vampires, the John Carpenter vampire film, debuted 27 years ago this week. Cursed, the Kevin Williamson werewolf movie with Christina Ricci, debuted 20 years ago this week. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show debuted 27 years ago this week on October 29th. Fallout 3 video game was released 17 years ago this week. Deaths. Jeffrey Meldrum, a Bigfoot scientist, died at the age of 67. Prunella Scales from Fawlty Towers, who played John Cleese's character's wife, passed away this week. She was 93 years old. Pierre Robert, Pierre Robert, a Philadelphia rock and roll radio giant, was found dead at the age of 70. Sam Rivers, bassist on Limp Bizkit, passed away this week as well. And one of their songs, because Limp Bizkit hasn't been relevant since like the 90s, but one of their big hits dropped to number 1 on the Billboard rankings this week because of that death. Floyd Myers Jr., Fresh Prince of Bel-Air actor, died at the age of 42. Is that everything on this page? Yes, it is. All right, yeah, we might just barely scrape an hour. Let me see. This one will probably be last story. Yeah, that'll be last story. We know about Fat Bear Week, so someone decided to create a Fat Squirrel Week, And we had the very first Fat Squirrel Week. And this time, instead of it just being in one state park, a bunch of state parks send in their photos of fat squirrels, and then they get voted on. The winner this week, the inaugural winner, was Chunkosaurus Rex from the Dinosaur Valley State Park. So congratulations to you, Chunkosaurus Rex, being the inaugural fat squirrel winner. Thackham Hall trailer is a parody film that parodies like shows like Downton Abbey and stuff like that. We haven't had a good parody movie in a little while, the Naked Gun notwithstanding, but like an original idea once. That's kind of really cool. A 2.5 earthquake hit Maryland this week. Didn't feel it, but it hit Columbia, which is only about 30 some miles from here. The fact that we didn't feel it is very interesting, but Columbia did, and it was only 2.5, so it was barely registerable anyway. As I said, Stranger Things Season 5 said debut the day before Thanksgiving, and they continue to promote it with all kinds of stuff. Now we have Stranger Things Strange Toothpaste in waffle flavor and cherry flavor. So, okay. The Adventures of Cliff Booth, the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by David Fincher, for Netflix. Netflix has decided that instead of doing a limited theater release like they've been doing with a lot of their original films, we were going to do a wide theatrical release for this movie and in the summer of 2026, and then have it show up on Netflix. So good on that for them. This one is kind of a toss-up because I've seen stories that debunk it and ones that don't, so I don't know what the truth is. Is Margot Robbie going to replace let me rephrase it. Is Margot Robbie going to be playing a female version of Patrick Bateman in an American Psycho remake? That was the rumor, and then someone came out and said, yeah, it's not true, but then someone says, no, you're lying. It is true. So don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Speaking of Margot Robbie, she is set to join again. I'm not sure about this because when they announced it, they just announced him, but I've seen this on a number of different websites now. Margot Robbie is also set to join Johnny Depp in his Christmas Carol remake, so we'll see what happens with that. The Last Samurai is set to debut Last Samurai Standing, is set to debut November 13th. It appears to be, I think it's either a Netflix show or series about a samurai contest where samurais fight each other to the death until there's only one. Sort of like a Squid Game Highlander sort of combination. So that's going to be due out here soon. SNL vets Ego Wodum and Heidi Gardner are set to reteam for a podcast, which will be discussing their time on Saturday Night Live. Bad Day action comedy cast from Netflix is set to cast Cameron Diaz, Ed O'Neill, Danielle Brooks, John Higgins, Rob Corddry, Mark Duplass, Ben Schwartz, and many others. Those are the big ones, so that's coming out here soon. The Baltimore Comic-Con, which was a couple weeks ago, announced their new the date for next year. The Baltimore Comic-Con will be hitting Baltimore September 25th through the 27th, 2026. So put that on your calendars. The Lincoln Lawyer Season 4 is set to debut December 7th. Merry Little Xmas with Lindsay Lohan's Christmas Hallmark S story will be debuting on Netflix on November 12th. Horse Toasters, which I should have named this episode, I think, as a thing now where you have a wood, like a metal horse carving or whatever, or metal painted like a horse, and you put toast in or whatever, and it toasts it. It's an actual thing. Before we get to the last story of the week, John Wick debuted 11 years ago this week. Millennium, the second TV show from Chris Carter, which the second season is one of the best TV shows in one of the best science fiction sort of seasons ever in television history, debuted 29 years ago this week. Interstellar, one of my favorite movies, debuted 11 years ago this week. Donnie Darko debuted 24 years ago this week. REM's one of their worst albums, Up, debuted 27 years ago this week. That was the first one after Bill Berry had left the band when REM had become a trio. Does have the classic Day Sleeper on it, which is a wonderful film, and I think there's one other one that I like on there. But other than that, it's really a forgettable album for me. Anyway, The Terminator debuted 41 years ago this week. That's the original one. 13 Ghosts debuted 24 years ago this week. That's one I need to rewatch again. I saw that in the movie theater, but I haven't watched it since. Gargoyles also debuted 31 years ago this week. That's the animated show. Constantine, the TV show, debuted 11 years ago this week. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, debuted 59 years ago this week, which means next year we have the 60th anniversary of that. The PS2 debuted 25 years ago this week. Any more anniversaries up here? Nope. Deaths. Cody Beef, Frankie, Barstool Sports golf influencer, died at the age of 31. Nick Mangold, former center for the New York Jets, passed away at the age of 41. Carol Davis, the widow of Al Davis, the former Raiders owner, died at the age of 93. And before we get to the final story, let's see if the Blue Jays walked it off. They have not. They are in the bottom of the 10th inning. Maybe they'll walk it off in the 10th inning now. So as of, it is now officially midnight. It is now officially November 2nd. As I said, in about 2 hours, we have to turn our clocks back. So we gain an hour. So technically it's 11:01 p.m. So basically I started the show now. Final story this week. A mouse pulls off the heist of the century that was caught on CCTV. It was able to steal a wheel of cheese. Now, remember, wheel of cheese are probably about this big. And the mouse is about that big. And he was able to pull off the heist of the century. And it's all on CCTV video. So congratulations to you, Mr. Mouse, on doing that. Next week, well, who knows? There's no Halloween. There's no Thanksgiving yet. We do have an election day where we may get a socialist mayor in New York, which would be absolutely fucking fantastic, and hopefully get a Democratic governor back in Virginia. So those are the two races we'll be watching. If we can win both of those, we are going to be doing a whole lot better really soon. But as always, the MAGAs and the GOP are fucking everything up and making things stressful and disgusting. So, blah. Hopefully by this time next week, I'll be able to tell you about the new season of Fortnite, because I hope to try to get on again tomorrow morning. Hopefully all their technical issues are done. I want to check this one last time before I get off. I'll have to tell you who the winner of the World Series is, if they are going into they didn't score, so won the 11th inning. So I was hoping that I'd be able to announce who won the World Series on this show live. Ain't going to happen, so I'm going to write that right now. World Series champ. Predator Badlands movie comes out this Friday. I'm not going to see that. I might take off the next Friday for the Running Man movie. Let's see about that, because I think my son has a half a day that day. But I want to see the Running Man, though. We'll see. Maybe I can wait till the 21st, which is the Friday before Thanksgiving. But no, because I got to do my class order during that period of time, so I can't do it. So we'll see. We'll work something out there somewhere. But yes, we have that. And other than that, I can't really think of anything else that is due to jump out of us. We kind of knew that the Scream 7 and the Stranger Things Season 5 trailer were going to be released this week, so we had that to look forward to. Nothing really here. I'll just do Fortnite, Simpsons season also. So those are two things we'll cover next week anyway that I know of. Everything else, we'll just have to wait and see how this week progresses, and we'll see what happens. I was going to try to do a list show yesterday, like top 5 vampires, but I didn't get around to it because of Halloween and stuff like that. All right, y'all, let's get into the end of the stream here. I'm trying to get it to be about an hour exactly, so I'm going to end the stream here. I'll see you next Saturday, probably. Enjoy yourself and stay cool, or stay warm, I should say.